I think it's pretty obvious to a lot of people that we live in very broken times. We live in times with lots and lots of gaps between the difficult realities of life and what we know to be possible humanly. We know that we live in a world at war. We also know that it is possible to live at peace. That's a big example. We know that we live in a situation where health care is not available to probably the people who need it most. And we know that humanly it would be possible to make it available. So on and on and on it goes. Everybody would have their own example of what I've come to call these tragic gaps. And I've come to believe that one of the most important qualities that a person can have in our time, a person who wants to take leadership, whether that's positional leadership or non-positional leadership, people who want simply to help make this a better world, one of the most important capacities they can have is the capacity to stand in the tragic gap, however that may be defined in their lives. And to stand there without flipping out on either side. To flip out on the side of too much reality is to become cynical. It's a jungle out there and I'll find some way to fight and survive. That cynicism that simply contributes to making the world a harder place. You flip out on the other side into too much possibility, and you become, I think, a kind of irrelevant idealist who simply flies above the battle without ever really descending to engage it in human terms.
It is not easy to live in this middle ground, in the space between what is and what could be. In fact, it is uncomfortable and scary. So we need communities of support where we can develop the inner strength necessary to hold both the world's reality and our hopes for the future.
So the capacity to stand in this tragic gap and to hold those tensions is to me one of the great human qualities that I think we help cultivate in circles of trust by giving people more access to that inner ground where you can stand and hold what appear to be radical opposites in a way that helps you become a co-creative agent of finding a new way through, a new way ahead. Not that the tragic gap will ever disappear. I mean, I don't believe that perfection is going to happen in my lifetime anyway. But that the quality of holding that tension is a quality that helps move us forward individually and collectively into something that's a little better, a little better, a little better, inviting those better angels of our nature onto the scene.
Standing in the tragic gap can be a heartbreaking experience. But instead of breaking into pieces, the heart can be broken open into larger capacity, new possibilities, and more life-giving responses to the struggles of our times.
And the whole question of how to allow that tight, clenched fist of a muscle called the heart to allow it to open into a larger, more capacious vessel, I think that's one that we work on constantly in our circles of trust. So I think the opening of the heart in ways that allow us to stand in this tragic gap is one of the most important contributions that this kind of work can make to a suffering world.